The Bison football season has been anything but normal this year. The home opener was on a Sunday in February. The Bison lost their second game, and the play-by-play voice that fans are used to has been on injured reserve. But as Valley News Team's Lisa Badeau reports tonight, Brian Shawn will be back on TV this weekend, and he has a new game plan to defeat the cancer that benched him from the broadcast booth for a few weeks.
Trey Lance breaking free. He's going to take it all the way for the first touchdown here in 2019.
The TV voice of Bison football was sidelined this season by an unlikely opponent.
In the span of 14 days, you go from being perfectly fine and healthy to being someone that needs to have an emergency surgery and start having chemotherapy to cure you.
A cancer diagnosis was not part of his game plan. Brian has been calling Bison games for more than 9 years.
I have not had to watch a Bison football game on KVLY in a decade. And here I am watching a Bison. It was just very surreal. It was a very surreal deal, and it really stunk.
Field is breaking free.
Brian's love of the game is obvious, but the strong voice you hear on TV trembles when he thinks about his wife and daughter as he now fights colon cancer.
I was really scared about that. You know, I was really, really scared about leaving them and not being there for them and not being there for my daughter when she's going through these important stages of life.
Jessica Shawn says their world was quickly turned upside down.
And the doctor just said he needed to talk to me in another room, and my heart just sank. And he kept talking to me, and I was trying to stay in the moment, but I was just in such shock. All I could see was down the hall was Amelia's little feet kicking underneath the curtain. And just like, what's going to happen to her world? And is she going to grow up with a dad?
Genetic testing was the crucial catch. Tests found Brian had a condition that put him at risk for colon cancer. The screening confirmed he already had it.
He was very fortunate. Brian was very fortunate. Yeah.
Brian had surgery right away. Doctors say 6 to 9 months later, Brian could have been in a much worse situation.
It was all the way around the colon. You know, it was obviously a big tumor.
While doctors at Roger Maris Cancer Center are putting together a new playbook, Bison Athletics is rallying around Brian.
Thinking about him and his family as he goes through this time, but I'll be excited to get him back.
And Brian says he feels the support of the herd.
Yeah, way more than I thought I would. From Coach Entz and calling me and hearing from players, from having Zeb Nolan send me a message. It's just it's flattering, it's humbling, it's overwhelming.
Brian recognizes he has a long road ahead of him, but says his wife and daughter give him the drive he needs to beat this.
I'm very thankful, and I praise God that it all worked out the way it did. And yeah, it's pretty wild.
One-on-one coverage of the end.
And it is clear the strength of the herd will be behind him every step of the way. Lisa Badeau, Valley News Live.
The genetic test that Brian had was the Sanford chip. It costs $50. Sanford says the testing they typically order for people with a suspicious personal or family history of cancer is often covered by insurance. And you can hear Brian tomorrow.